Coahulla Creek Football Show, presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Homes.
Hello and welcome to the Coahulla Creek Football Show on our YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Brooks Carter, joined by the head coach, Drew Carter. Coach, tough week one loss against our familiar foe just across just across town here on the north end of the county, northwest Whitfield. Kind of a weird game, Saturday morning game, nothing like we expected. First and foremost, kind of walk me through what that was like, playing the waiting game and then the eventual decision to settle on an 11 a.m. kickoff on Saturday.
Well, it was really frustrating because, like you said, I mean, you spend 9 months of the off season planning on a Friday night atmosphere with your crosstown rival with a 7:30 kickoff, and that's far from what we got. It probably made it even more frustrating when you saw how many people were lined up outside the gate, waiting on the lightning to clear and the weather to clear up for us, and that just never did happen. And that's really tough for our guys because it's abnormal circumstances. And as much as we preach, control what you can control, it definitely is not easy when you're talking about 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. It's just tough that Friday night. And then Coach Robinson and I were really committed to try to get it in. But when we started getting to that 9 o'clock hour of, all right, we're not going to kick off, 9:30 could have been the best scenario. We kind of decided that we needed to pull the plug in and start looking at other plans.
Yeah, not the only Whitfield County school that area in the Whitfield County area that postponed. All Murray and Whitfield County schools postponing their games until Saturday. But end result wound up being we fall 35-0 to Northwest Whitfield. Really talented Northwest team, very veteran Northwest team. I think I saw where they have 26 seniors. So it was going to be a tough task to beat them. But obviously some growing pains in our opener.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. And that was the message that I sent to our team afterwards is, as big as this is in terms of our area, the rival, it's not, we can't let this define us for the whole season. The only way we want that to define us is how are we going to respond to it coming back on Monday for the following game week to respond to that. It's not easy to do that. A lot of emotions involved in that game. You kind of take your pride a little bit, but that was the challenge going forward. How are we going to respond to this? And we can't let that define our whole season.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Look at some highlights from the game and some specific standouts player-wise that we had from the game. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Brooks, I don't know if there's a lot of bright spots in this as far as highlights is what you're saying, but we did have a few individuals, a few units that I thought played well. I felt like our defensive line played really well the whole game. They were disruptive like we thought. They did some good stuff in the game, just like you see right here. You kind of resetting the line of scrimmage, being disruptive. The plays came from they would slip through a gap, and our young linebackers just weren't seeing things quite as quick as what we thought. That's part of the growing pains when you're relying on young kids.
Yeah, I mean, the defensive line definitely applied some pressure to quarterback Gavin Knuckles, especially. And I think Northwest at points in the game tried to kind of plan for that. They had the quarterback on a lot of rollouts, trying to get them away from our defensive line, get Gavin Knuckles on the move away from Chevy and Jackson and Colby. And smart, rightfully so, because that our defensive line was able to get a lot of penetration and on a few runs even made some stops in the backfield.
Yeah, and you see right here's a great example of that. Jackson Lowry slants right inside and gets there. Chevy Joyce does the same on the backside, And probably more impressive than their play was how they responded through the game. You can see from our end zone copy right here, said he's going to shoot the gap right there, and he meets him in the backfield. You know, this is second half when the game was we were down by a good deficit at that point. I think it was 21-0, 28-0, maybe at this point in the game. And, you know, that didn't affect their energy level, their effort level, or anything they were doing fundamentally. So hats off to them for that. They're big time leaders for us. And they're going to have to be for the whole season. Here's another example right here. We get some pressure off the edge, make that play in the backfield. I think that's White man running it down. But again, you look at the defensive line, you know, there's not a gap open right there, so it allows White to do that.
Yeah, and that's a you know, kind of a bad snap by their center, and their center had a couple of issues with bad snaps. Northwest scored on a broken play earlier in the game, so this time we actually contained it and prevented that from happening this time. So good job by the defense there.
Yeah, and I'll correct myself there. That was actually Branson Lowry. We're excited about his future. Got a ton of raw ability, but he's got to have more games like this, more plays like this, where he's making plays at the line of scrimmage. Here's another perfect example. They're down in the red zone with our backs against the wall, and we're still playing tough. Try to freeze us right there. Colby Ewart plugs up, Chevy Joyce plugging that up, and then we fit it exactly like we're supposed to at the linebacker level right there and finish it off strong. So a couple of really good examples right there of how we played up front on the defensive line. I think you alluded to it. I don't think Knuckles was very comfortable back there the whole game. You know, he had a few moments where he had some nice throws and everything, but you know, them being able to get our linebackers out of position was really where they were able to exploit us.
Yeah, another big standout defensively was Chris Ewart forced 2 fumbles in the game, both of which we were able to recover. You know, that's forcing turnovers is the name of the game on defense. You talk about those big chunk plays on offense. Forcing turnovers is that's the name of the game on defense. You know, whether it's ripping that ball out on a strip or lowering the boom on a big hit, and he did that a couple of times.
Yeah, and those are kind of the explosive plays on defense. You know, if you want to use an offensive term, it's can you create negative plays and put them in bad situations, and can you create turnovers? So yeah, Chris, I think we've talked a good bit about him throughout the summer, the work that he's put in, and it showed up on defense. I thought he had a nice day and was very impactful. As you mentioned earlier, here's another clip right here where they're having to roll away from our pressure, and we still don't let him get comfortable. And, you know, as reliable guys we got out there on defense, Tyler Douglas making a really nice play. I was pleased at how we played the deep ball on Saturday. They made a couple of long attempts on us. We gave up one, but other than that, I feel like we played the ball really well down the field.
Yeah, they didn't really take a lot of deep shots in the game. Was a little surprised by that. I mean, they had a decent amount of success running the football, so maybe they didn't feel like they needed to. But when they did take some deep shots, I felt like our secondary responded a lot better than they did. You know, just a week ago in the preseason game against Gordon Central, where we gave up a couple of long touchdowns.
Yeah, and we knew that would have to be something that was corrected going into game week. And so hats off to our defensive staff, Coach Dover, Coach Collier in the secondary, getting those guys corrected, their eyes in the correct place, and then reacting the right way. So really proud of that going forward. So that's the kind of progress we've got to have with our young guys. Yeah, and then another thing I thought we did good, this showed up in the scrimmage as well, of us playing the wide receiver screens. Kobe King picked one off against Gordon Central, and he plays this really well, anticipating that and jumping around that block out there by the receiver and breaking this up. This has been a huge part of their game the past few years. We knew it would be, and this kind of spooked them out of it, I think, because this was early in the game. separates that ball out and was a huge play. And it's going to be huge for us because we can't give easy completions and just allowing people to flip that ball out there and gain, 5, 6, 7 yards when they're only having to block one guy. So great job by Kobe right there.
Yeah, and definitely I'll keep inviting any offense that wants to throw that play out Kobe's way throughout the season. If he's going to play it like that, keep throwing it his way.
Yeah, he's proven that he's ready for that, and it's really proud of the steps that he's made. He played a ton last year as a sophomore, and there were times where, just his physical stature made him hesitant a little bit with that kind of stuff, but we're not seeing that now. He's put on good muscle. He looks about a couple of steps faster. He's trusting what he's seeing, and he's arriving in a more physical way. He had another bright spot through this, I felt like, was Braden Scoggins. First varsity action, punted the ball really well. Had to handle a couple of bad snaps and still kept his composure and got the ball off really well. So, anytime you got a younger guy that's not as experienced, you're going to be a little bit nervous with that. But he did a nice job, got it out of his hand. Just right here, gets it away from the returner. We get a nice roll. Anytime that they don't even have a chance to catch it because we can angle it away from them, that's a great job by the punter. They're set up in the middle of the field, and he's able to get that thing out outside the hash, and we're able to cover down.
Yeah, his feet were almost
field position.
Yeah, exactly. His feet were almost planted in the end zone there, and he got it all the way down to flipped the field all the way down to the other 30-yard line. That's a heck of a punt there. And as you mentioned, one time there was a grounder back there on a snap, and he actually was able to pick it up almost like rugby style in motion and get it away. But I was impressed with him for his first varsity game punting the football.
Yeah. So, there's going to be times where we're going to have situational football, and we got offense may be struggling, our defense is playing lights out, and flipping the field position can be a huge asset to us. And here's the one you're talking about. We get one hopper back there, he doesn't panic, rolls to his right a little bit, and get a fair catch on it. Coverage is good down the field. That could have been catastrophic for us right there, to where we, panic and just take a knee, or it gets by us, or we get it blocked. But he doesn't panic right there, and does a really good job for us of getting that out and getting a nice punt for us.
All right, when we come back, going to preview our upcoming game in Summerville this week against the Chattooga Indians. During the break, you'll see one of our senior spotlights this week. We'll start out with the center and newly awarded team captain, Isaac McGill. So that will be during the break, and after the break, we'll talk about next week's game. This is the Coahulla Creek Football Show. Be back in a second.
This is your Alpha Insurance Player of the Week.
Nature never repeats itself, and neither does Mohawk's Techwood hardwood flooring. Techwood is unique and one of a kind. Your floor should be long-lasting and beautiful, like the relationships you create at home. Choose Techwood for a stunning, natural hardwood floor for everyday performance. More moments are made on Mohawk.
Whether you're looking for a taste of classic seasonal sweetness or need to satisfy your candy cravings, DQ has something for every fan this season. So hurry into DQ on Cleveland Highway today and see what else is in store for fans all season long.
Introducing BioLite, the world's first IV in a bottle. BioLite is a medical-strength hydration solution physician-formulated to help relieve the discomforts of dehydration, like upset stomach and fatigue. If you want powerful hydration relief, try it today.
Now for this week's Senior Spotlight.
I'm Isaac McGill, and I play center. I think my favorite moment was when we played Ringgold last year, and we had that nail biter, and we ended up winning in the end. That was a really fun game. So in middle school, I didn't really play any sports. So when I got up to high school, I was just looking for something to do. So football has always been like a big part of my family, so I just decided to play. I don't know an exact moment, but Coachy is always saying something funny when someone's messing up or getting on to us. It's always hard not to laugh when he's yelling at us. So it's definitely been Coachy, because when I got here, everybody kind of doubted what I could do, because I never played football and I was really out of shape. But Coachy always believed in me and pushed me to get better and made me into the player I am today. My favorite thing is that we always get through everything together. So if we're winning or we're losing or having bad practice, good practice, I feel like we're always working as a team. I like to play golf. I like to hang out with my friends a lot. I would say my dad for sure. My dad's always been there for me and taught me how to be a man, and I really appreciate him. I think just to keep improving myself, keep making new standards for myself. I always want to keep getting better. I never just want to be the same still player. I'm thinking about doing something in project managing and like construction or something like that.
All right, welcome back to the Coahulla Creek Football Show, presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Home. Looking forward to our second and last non-region game of the season as we make the trip over to Summerville for the second straight year. That's a game last year that I'm still sits pretty fresh in your memory, as well as the coaching staff and the players that were part of that game last year. Game we definitely felt like we should have won. Lost on a field goal as time expired, but definitely left some points on the board last year. That was one of those games that was a really bitter finish. Do you use that as motivation, kind of redemption from a game that you felt like you should have won last year?
Yeah, I feel like that game and the Gordon Lee game last year are the two games that really fueled our whole offseason of the whole purpose phrase, because you felt like you could have won both of those, and the mistakes we made were within our control. So we've got to make sure that doesn't happen again, obviously, because that's been the whole message leading up to the season. But yeah, huge opportunity to hopefully right that wrong, but also fix the mistakes that we've seen and play better than what we've seen, in the scrimmage game and in week one.
First chance to travel as a team here in the regular season. You traveled back during the spring, but really first time to travel as a team since getting into fall camp back in July. I know you have talked in the past about, especially with a young team, how you got to have a certain level of maturity to go on the road and play.
Yeah, and especially going there, because it's not like we're just riding, 15 minutes over to Chatsworth or something like that. It's a little bit of a haul for the kind of travel that we do. You're looking at about right at an hour on a bus. So it definitely does take that when you've got a little bit of a trip on there of, how do you approach doing all those things from pregame, making sure your bags are packed correctly. There's just a lot that goes into it. And then when you get off the bus, can you get yourself into a game routine and then be able to go out there and start fast?
Looking at Chattooga, they're always going to have some good athletes, and they had some good looking ball carriers and receivers and stuff last year. A lot of those guys are back. They were young last year. This is another team that has got a head coach in his second year with Broom Gamble. They had a big, I think, 30-0 shutout victory over Lafayette in week one. So they're going to be riding some momentum coming into this game, and they look like an improved team from their 2-8 record last year.
Yeah, I think exactly what you're saying there is true. You can tell they're more experienced. You can tell they've been in with Coach Gable now for a full season and a full off season, because they look much improved. They've got some guys that are scary with the ball in their hand. They've got some twitchy guys on the defensive front, some really good corners that can play the ball and cover you up. So we'll have our hands full in a couple areas there. But again, huge opportunity for us because, I feel like they're probably going to be riding high coming off of that win last week over Lafayette. So hopefully we can go over there and burst their bubble a little bit coming off of that win.
Yeah, and obviously we know familiar with what their defensive scheme will look like as their defensive coordinator is still former head coach Danny Wilson.
Yeah, you can say that they have made some changes though, and I think it's to fit their personnel better. They shifted into a 4-man front on the defensive side now though, which, somebody that's been around as long as Danny Wilson, he's run about everything on both sides of the ball now. So I don't know if you can tie him to one thing or another. But yeah, I think they've adjusted based on what they've got personnel wise, and those guys are going to be tough to handle. They're pretty big and they're long on the defensive front. And they're athletic, so they'll present some problems.
Yeah, fun environment over there. They had a total remodel from the last time I'd been there prior to last year, so should be a fun atmosphere as we head over. So definitely make the drive over. We want our community there to support our team coming up on Friday night. I know it's about probably a 50-minute, hour-long drive from kind of Barnell, Coahulla area, but we're hoping to make it worth the drive to come over there. We're going to take our last break of the show here. When we come back, we will quickly wrap it up and give you a little note on our JV action coming up this week on Thursday as we've moved that from Monday. And then during the break, you'll see our coaching spotlight, which will be our assistant head coach, Coach Chad Brewer. Stick around. This is the Coahulla Creek Football Show. We'll be back in a second.
Junior's Building Materials, the Tri-State's headquarters with building products for builders, contractors, remodeling projects, and do-it-yourselfers. Junior's is the largest dealer stocking Trex decking, the world's #1 composite decking brand. Trex isn't just boards and balusters, but a new way to live outdoor and virtually maintenance-free. For all your building or remodeling needs, shop Junior's Building Materials.
Junior's Building Materials, we always come through for you.
Your roof is the most critical part of your home, especially in the heat of the summer. That's why OC Roofing Systems is offering free roof inspections all summer long. Families in Ellijay have trusted OC Roofing Systems time and time again for our award-winning service and countless 5-star reviews. Protect your roof this summer. Visit ocroofingsystems.com today and schedule your free roof inspection.
Coach, you were kind of making a transition back to offense, at least for your first time since being here. What is that like for you? I know you've got an offensive background.
I do have an offensive background as a player, but as a coach in all my years, 25, I've been on the defensive side of the ball. So this has been an adjustment for me, but it's been fun to go back to, the offensive side of the football because that's what I was at UT Martin. So it was a tight end there. And it was, offense every day, all day long. So I was excited about something new, right? You always want to challenge yourself in your profession. So it's been a challenge for me. I've had to study formations. I still don't know them all in the plays. I still don't know them all yet, but I'm getting there. And but Drew's an experienced head coach, knows a lot about it. So I've learned a lot from him just in this short time.
What do you think it says about this coaching staff about the versatility of these guys to be able to move around and coach different positions?
I think it's a testament to the staff that, Coach Bagley, Coach Wilson, and Coach Carter's put together. I mean, you got 5 former head coaches on one staff and guys that can do anything, kind of Swiss Army knives. So I think it makes, we always want our players to be adaptable, right? And we have to be adaptable too and do what's best for our team. And this setup we have now is what's best for our football team at this point in time.
So I've asked most of the guys this so far. For you, a guy who's been in it for a quarter century now.
Long time.
When you walk out there on Friday nights, you turn that corner and come out of the tunnel and the music's going, the band's playing. What is that emotion that goes through your body?
I mean, it's just, I have so many good memories of it. I was blessed even back in middle school, my uncle coached my football team, man. We had great players and we had a good time, so every football memory that I have has been a positive one. And I still get excited about games. You know, I still get my blood still pumps, right? I get emotional, I get excited about playing football because of all the good memories that I've had in this game. It's brought me, gosh, I've got some of the best friends in my life from playing this game. I met my wife in college playing football there, right? So, I mean, football's played a huge role in my life. So I still get excited when it's game day. I still love practice. I still enjoy what we're doing now, meeting and scheming up and getting ready for our next opponent. So there's just so many good memories about it. So when I turn that corner, I still feel like a kid. I still feel like a player. And I think that's why I've enjoyed my career so much in coaching.
Talk to me about the type of family support system it takes to do this job. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The family. Yes, you definitely have to have a supportive wife, because you do sacrifice. She does sacrifice a lot of time, and my daughter and my son both understand that this is my career, and they see me enjoy doing it. So it's okay if I miss some things sometimes and I'm not around as much during football season as I should be. But there's a special place in heaven, I do believe, for coaches' wives of any sport. So I know my wife will enjoy that when that day comes. But I do have a supportive wife. She grew up in an athletic family. All of her brothers, she played sports, played softball in college. You know, her brothers played football and baseball and basketball, so she understands the time commitment it takes. And she's a competitor like me, probably more so. She hates to lose, so she understands that a little time away, you know, as long as you keep winning, she's okay with it. So, but it's great to have a good wife backing you up.
So you played Division I football, and now your kids are getting to a point where they're getting into being recruited and taking those college trips. Kind of what's that been like? Know it like you've gone through it yourself, but now you're seeing your kids go through it. Tell me what that's kind of.
Well, it is totally different now. I mean, social media has changed the recruiting game. I mean, there was nothing, you know, our coaches called us on the phone and that was it. And if you got an offer, you got it over the phone. And now it's just coaches call you from all different states and offer you, and you've never met the coach, and they're posting things on social media. So all that stuff has really changed recruiting. I think it's made it better. It's made it more exciting. So it's been fun to watch Logan go through that, and then watch Avery go through it now. And I've been blessed with two very good kids, and they've been blessed with being great kids and being good athletes too. So I'm excited about Logan took advantage of his opportunity. I hope Avery takes advantage of hers.
Welcome back into the Coahulla Creek Football Show, presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Home. I'm Brooks Carter with head coach Drew Carter. Coach had the JV game moved from Monday this week to Thursday, but that's kind of what the schedule's going to look like the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. Sometimes we do get them on Mondays if it's, you know, homecoming week, those kind of things. Coach Robinson and I, when we originally scheduled in the off season, wanted to go ahead and do that, but we had some scheduling conflicts with some stuff going on, so we went ahead and moved it to that Thursday this coming week. So we'll make a trip over to their place this year with our freshmen and sophomores and let them get out on the field and start competing a little bit. So excited to see the work that they've put in and be able to get out there and compete.
Yeah, and I know 8 games on the JV schedule this year. That's more than I ever remember playing when I was in JV. Did you kind of ramp up the JV schedule this year?
A little bit, yes, and usually the reason for that is because what ends up happening is inevitably we get 1 or 2 canceled, whether it be injuries with our own guys or other teams. So trying to do a little bit of fail safe there, because you know, we'll probably end up playing 5 or 6. Will probably end up what happens, whether it be the opponents or us that has injuries and depth that happen as the season goes. So trying to do that.
Gotcha. Makes sense. I know we had a couple that wound up getting canceled last year, so that definitely is a smart move on your part there. But we thank you for tuning in to our Game 1 edition of the Coahulla Creek Football Show. We'll be right back here next Tuesday night on our YouTube channel at 8 p.m. With game highlights from our trip to Chattooga, and we will be looking ahead at that point to our region opener down at North Cobb Christian. I'm Brooks Carter, and for Drew Carter, thank you for tuning in to the Coahulla Creek Football Show presented by Julian Peoples Funeral Home. We'll see you next week.